Hello and welcome to episode 6 of this Blender series. In this episode, I'll be looking at latch switches and the like and how they operate. So I guess let's go ahead and get started. So let's see. I I kind of want to go through, animating one, but let's just kind of go through. Let's look at one that already works. Kind of explain how it works. So let's maybe look at the nozzles. L nozzle. Let's go into Blender. And let's open up the overhead panel. So go to File, Import, AC, and then navigate to where you have your FG aircraft saved. Go to Models, Flight Deck, Overhead Panel. And let's take a look at this. This is called L nozzle. So let's go into the code L nozzle. Overhead panel. Here it is. Okay. So this is what is animating that switch. So seems pretty typical. We have a pick animation, just like any other switch, makes the entire object pickable. This is the object that we are making selectable. You select it with the left mouse button, and when you do that, it'll toggle this property. So there's two states because it's a toggle. Usually when you call this command and you don't like set values for what you're toggling, it'll automatically toggle between 0 and 1. And then so this is what actually makes the object selectable and also toggles the property. And this is the animation that kind of goes along with it. So usually, if you've seen my other videos, usually there's a pick animation which makes the object selectable, and then we have a animation like a rotate animation or something like that that kind of responds to this pick animation. So this time it's not rotate, it's called text translate, and I'll explain that in a moment. And we're text translating this object based on this property by a factor of we're text translating this property by a factor of -0.25. So that probably doesn't make any sense along this axis. So then we go and explain that. We need to go look at Blender to further explain this. So let's open Blender. We have the L nozzle selected. Let's open up another window here. So go to the top right above options here in the corner until you see the crosshairs. And just kind of click and drag to get another kind of screen window here. And then you want to go onto the top left here to this this button here, the drop down menu. And let's click the UV editor. So you're not going to see anything when you first go to the UV editor. I guess I should explain what the UV editor is. What the UV editor is, it's like a UV mapping of the selected object. So let me add a mesh, maybe a cube. So if I select this cube and I press tab, it kind of unfolds the object. That's what it does. This is just a regular cube. So it unfolds the object, and then you can kind of texture each face here with whatever you want by kind of opening any kind of PNG and selecting it, and then kind of situating that PNG how you like it. Or you can also move these faces around or what have you. So anyways, let me delete this object. We don't need that. Go back to look at the L nozzle. So let's look at the UV mapping for this. To look at the UV mapping, just click on whatever object you want UV mapped. And right now we're in object mode, and you want to go into edit mode by pressing tab. And this will show you the UV mapping. So what we're looking at here is a PNG file. It's if you look at the file, it's a 256 by 256 PNG, or 256 pixel by 256 pixel PNG file. And so the UV mapping is here, and you can select it and move it around using G if you want, and it's kind of stuck on this one square. So what this code is doing is that when you select it, it toggles it down by a factor of 0.25. So 0.25, it's saying take a fourth of this PNG and move this UV map by a quarter along the y-axis. So we're telling this, we're essentially, what this is doing is it is moving this UV map down by a quarter along the y-axis along this PNG, if that makes sense. So when I click on it, it moves this box just down, and that's all it's doing. And then when I click on it again, it moves it back up, then back down, and then back up. If that makes sense. Other buttons, like this. Let me see. Like this button, LPAC. It's on the off, right? So when I click on it, it'll go to on, and then when I click on it again, it'll go to off, and so on and so forth. Same with this RAM air. Click on this RAM air. You can probably guess where the UV mapping is for this. It's probably gonna be right here. Yeah, and then when I click on it, it'll change the PNG, or change this UV map to this section of the PNG. And we can see that in flight gear. When I click on it, you know, it gives the illusion that it is illuminating the button, but really all it's doing is changing its position on a PNG file. These are all just PNG files that are being translated, or it's called a text translate when you click on it. So let me see. If you want to say change them, you'd have to open this PNG file and edit it. And I'll show you that in a minute. So, you know, we could also make sure you have it selected. So let's say, whoops. And click away. So let's say you UV map it and you don't see anything here. Make sure in this window you just select the button and you'll see it pop up. And then, you know, if you want to have it defaulted to off or whatever, or to on, you could do that as well. Let me see. But let's say you want a different PNG to call from, you would go to, well, first of all, let's make a new PNG file that has the choice of not on and off, but maybe auto and manual. And then we will incorporate this into Blender and see how that works. So let's open this file. Navigate to FG Aircraft in your File Explorer. Click on it. Click on Models, Flight Deck, and it should be here. This is what we're looking for. And then edit, with 3D Paint. It's fine. Okay, so we want auto and then manual here. Just because, like, let's say an SRS says that it's auto here and then manual instead of on and off. So let's just pretend that an SRS says that somewhere, just for example's sake. So what I would do here is I would just kind of select that, delete it, select this, and delete it. Or actually, that's just because there's a bit of a, you can kind of see on there in dark gray. So let's just delete all that stuff. And let's fill these white spaces with black. We can do the bucket and then select black. Just kind of fill those in. Then we can go to text and select Microsoft Sans. I think that's pretty close to what the text already is. And then we can select, I think, gold. I think we have what, amber in our SRSs. I think it's not orange. It might be yellow. Or it might be, it's like more orangey, I guess. I don't know. You could also like make custom ones. If you go over here, you can make like a custom thing. And enter in the RGB values for amber. Which I guess I could do that. Amber RGB value. 100% red. Well, I guess this is what, 256 or 255? 255. Is it 0 green? And then what? 74. Nope. This is 0 blue. And then 74.9% green. Which is, what's it, 191? Let's try that. 191. I guess that's like amber. I don't know. So this will be auto. Yeah, it looks pretty accurate, I'd say. Let's bold it. Let's kind of move it right here. Whoops. Sometimes it'll do that. It'll just kind of move on its own. Have to replace it. You could also, after typing it out, kind of move it around to your liking, like that. And then just kind of fill the rest with black. Text. Let's do manual. Then let's move it around a little bit. Go back here. Black. And then we have to do, actually that's a bit low. That seems a bit low. Maybe here. I don't know, something like that. And then let's do some dark gray. Here we go. And then we have auto. We'll move those in a little bit. Manual. And let's just kind of select it. Move these around a little bit. Now let's go back here and fill those up. Okay, so then let's save this as a different file. Because if we save it to this, if we overwrite this file, that could change all these other buttons, and we don't want to do that because they could have different states, different name states, you know. So let's save this as like extra auto or something. And then let me see. That should show up in your changes. So like when you make a new file, it'll show up in VS Code. Like, okay, here's that new file you made. You know. So that's nice. So let's go back here to Blender. And you would not choose. You wouldn't change the file here. No, you would change the file, I believe, in the shader editor, which is kind of what shades everything. So come here, and then you'll usually see like a box here, and you just kind of choose, or let's make a new material. Let's see. So I'm saying a lot of stuff right now. So materials, you can. Material is like kind of what you're shading the button as. So you can like, I could use the same material on this button, or the same like shader or the texture on this button, if I just like select the same material using this. And so I want to use a different material here because it's a new image. So let's go to new material, and then let's choose a new image here. This, and then extra auto, and then that should be it. Let's go back to UV editor, and it should automatically be on this new file. And let's click and drag to select this, and then press G to kind of freehand this. And let's say we want this according to the SRS. It's in the, I don't know, auto state when Flight Gear is first opened. Actually, let's do manual. Let's do that. And then to save this, you would have to export AC, find where you have your FG aircraft, and then overwrite that OH panel AC file. You can't export in edit mode, so go back to object mode and then export it like that. And here we go. We should have a change here. That's good. Let's see what happened in Flight Gear. I encourage you to kind of, mess around with it on your own, because it's a lot to take in. I'm just kind of showing you the basics. You can do a lot more with it. So this, when I click on it, it should go from this to this, right? This to this. Let's see. And it does. So it kind of, they're pretty well like placed too, I'd say. Kind of giving the appearance that these are becoming illuminated. It's kind of nice illusion. I don't even know if this is right for the fuel jettison, but I'm just kind of showing you an example. If it did say, auto and manual, this is how you would do it. This is how you would change it. And so hopefully that makes sense. The factor, so it's saying along the y-axis here, negative. That's saying like that kind of says translate it down. If I wanted to translate it up, I would just say 0.25, a positive 0.25, and that would translate it up. If I wanted to translate it sideways, I believe that you would just have x as 1 and y as 0, and then mess with the sign here. I believe it's x. I could be wrong about that. I would just encourage you to just kind of mess around with it and kind of see what happens. Hopefully this makes sense. It's not really like a whole lot for the latch switch, but it's a lot more. I feel like it's a lot more Blender work, a lot more like editing PNGs and stuff than any other button. So hopefully that makes sense. I'm probably gonna conclude the video here for now, and I'll see you guys in the next video.